think that makes you like me? Huh? California boys got a hard on. Jungle fever. I'm gonna drive a bullet through my sister's skull. Like I did your brother Grant. Fuck you.
Hi, I'm Rob Cram, and today we're taking a look at Ubisoft's Far Cry 3, which follows in the footsteps of Far Cry 2, which released in 2008. Far Cry 3 maintains a tried and trusted formula, but offers a more engaging narrative with larger-than-life characters, making this one of the most defining games in the series. Whilst the original Far Cry offering presented the character Jack Carver and the strange happenings on the island, the real meat of the game was its open environments, vehicles and emergent AI. Whilst not overly engaging, the story always seemed to take a back seat to the other elements. The same can be said for Far Cry 2, which opened up the gameplay even more in favour of a vague and bare-bones story where players were left hunting tape recordings in remote locations to get the full picture. Both games are good in their own right, but as we're in a time of evolution, Far Cry 3's story is far more integral to the rest of the game. Players take control of unwitting hero and American Jason Brody, who alongside his friends fall foul of the psychotic lunatics and local inhabitants of Hook Island, who take the partying rich kids hostage. The game opens as Jason and his brother attempt to escape, and it's here where the story, which is told in real time, comes into its own. There's some solid script writing and performance, making Jason's predicament all the more believable. Starting the game as a regular Joe, Jason becomes embroiled in a revenge-fueled drive into insanity, emerging as a sloppy but effective killing machine, pushed over the edge by circumstance. Whilst the overall theme might be a little cheesy, the execution is handled really well, as players are gently eased into the role rather than jumping in after 10 minutes of preparation and build-up. Far Cry 3 is much broader than that, and with keeping to the formula, there's a whole 2 islands to explore and become familiar with. In many ways, the game follows the format from the previous game, offering many similarities in design, such as the safe houses, collectibles, maps, vehicles, dusty roads and such like. However, the game has been tweaked, where design choices that didn't gel so well in Far Cry 2 have evolved. Players can now fast travel from more locations rather than having to trawl across the terrain to find a bus stop. The outposts, once liberated, allow for remote access to arms and stores, making light work of preparing for missions. But the most notable change is the AI. A huge complaint of Far Cry 2 was levelled at the AI simply always attacking the player on sight, making navigation a bit of a pain. This has been addressed with less random encounters and the fact that there are other motorists on the roads. The element of being attacked is still a feature, but not so nauseating. Far Cry 3 offers a more concise island to explore, where your activities serve a tangible purpose for Jason's progression. For example, the island is populated with varying wildlife and fauna, ranging from birds, boars and deers to ferocious attacking tigers. And much like Assassin's Creed 3, players can hunt and skin the carcasses for bonuses, or use plants to heal and improve abilities. In this case, the extras become used in gameplay, offering larger wallets and ammo pouches. It works and makes the added extras feel more interwoven with the story rather than optional extras, which ultimately they still are. The Assassin's Creed similarities are further reaching within the game's use of radio towers, which although not as easy to climb for Jason, do act in much the same way. Once activated, the local vicinity loses its mystery as key items are then displayed on the map. There's an overarching theme of liberation throughout the entire game, ranging from the liberation of Jason's personality to the submissions and activities which liberate the island. It's cleverly done and makes for a compelling game overall. Once players are deep into the game, they will find some excellent stealth and action choices on offer. Players can adopt close quarters approaches with a ton of extra skills which can be learned via earning skill points. They can become the silent range attacker, hiding in the undergrowth and leaving the enemy guessing, or they can go loud and simply gun down opponents with some meaty weaponry. The gunplay has been improved with a far more precise targeting and hit detection than before, making the moments where the poop hits the fan a lot more enjoyable to get out of. Stealth is still a major preference in making tasks easier, but then again, it's always fun to let rip when there are no repercussions attached, and it's this that makes the game more fun to play. Far Cry 3 boasts some improved visuals over its predecessor, which are evident right away when looking at some of the textures used. Whilst the foliage exudes a more vibrant look during the brighter parts of the day, the overall realisation of a tropical island is as good as always, and a stark difference to the African theme of the last game. There's some excellent fire effects and good combination of interior and exterior designs, which create an interesting play space. There are some issues with the frame rate being slightly less steady at times, but this is minor and not really impacting on the gameplay too much. It simply feels inconsistent at times. The game's character models, of the main cast at least, look well detailed and animate smoothly, offering some believable looking models that are well complemented by their audio performances. Far Cry 3 is certainly a looker in all departments, and whilst not always visually perfect, does provide some excellent lighting effects and well designed locations. As mentioned, the audio is of a high standard that really deserves only part of the credit, as the script is also fairly decent. However, the actors do bring the cast to life, especially Jason and the criminally insane Vast character. It's much more fitting to have a non-mute character, and in this case adds a lot more personality to the game, which is a good thing. The music is a little hit and miss, where at times it adds some audio colour where needed, but in moments the style choice feels a little off. However, this is obviously down to personal preference, and if you like more electronic sounding effects, then the soundtrack will be well suited. Far Cry 3 offers a lengthy campaign, lots of side extras, 3 difficulty levels, and the chance to tackle the open-ended elements how you choose. There's also a separate co-op campaign for 4 players and a multiplayer offering that provides 4 basic game modes, including the much-touted newcomer Firestorm, which shows off the impressive fire effects. Throw in a concise map editor where players can share maps and create their own virtual missions, and you have a game that's big on keeping players well entertained. Far Cry 3 is a definite improvement over its predecessor and steps in a more story-driven direction, but without losing the elements that made the series popular. With stunning visuals, excellent game design and an interesting cast of characters, you have a shooter that can hold its head high amongst its shooter peers. Whilst Far Cry 3 is a first-person shooter, its scale is such that it's more an RPG and in some ways shares similarities with Assassin's Creed 3, to the point where Far Cry 3 could be described as the Assassin's Creed of shooters. Either way, Far Cry 3 is a solid and essential purchase for fans, and a worthy game to sink some time into if you're after something different to the other shooters on offer at the moment. Far Cry 3 scores an excellent 9 out of 10. I'm Rob Cram, thanks for watching.